It is horrifying to be reminded that a great number of Americans hate me. Without even knowing me, there are people who hate me because of how I look, because of who I love, think I'm inferior, want to prove that I'm inferior, think that despite my slave ancestry and lack of rights for so many hundreds of years, we need no more assistance to be in an equitable world, and would really rather see us go back from where we came from, even though my ancestors were brought here against their own free will, and would have been more than happy to go home had they had the chance. They think I'm subhuman, a deviant, and I should not be allowed to have the same human rights as others. Don't believe me? Turn on the news. It's all right there in front of you, on your phones. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is the world we live in. How do you deal? I was terminated from a huge job in 2008. Although I had been in therapy for many years and I was very familiar with life coaching and professional support around that kind of life experience, I knew this was bigger than me. I knew this was bigger than my professional help. I knew that a lot of that work was going to have to come from myself. Oh yes, I leaned into my therapist, I leaned into my support network, I really reached out for all my resources, but I knew the bulk of the work was going to come from myself. Self-healing. Welcome to Roar Season 2. Today we're going to talk about psychological healing, self-healing, why we need it, what hurts us, what frees us, and if you stick around to the end, we're going to explore ways to become a self-healer. I call them lions, life challenges, unchanging circumstances. It's more than a metaphor, it's a way of life. A quarter of the world's population is experiencing a mental health-related incident. That's 2 billion people. Even more disheartening, many of us, including myself, are rarely out of arm's reach of today's biggest addiction, our mobile phones. Nearly every person in today's modern world is holding on to something that is making them sick, be it physically, emotional, mentally, or spiritually, including our phones. You've tried therapy, life coaching, all kinds of professional help, and still you're not getting the results you need. It's more important than ever to take healing into our own hands. As James Baldwin reminds us, there is no time in the future in which we will work out our salvation. The challenge is in the moment, and the time is always now. Please like, subscribe, share, join my channel, and join this journey with me. Before we unpack what it means to be a self-healer, we must talk about what we're healing from. There are many different things you may need to heal. Emotional pain, disturbing thoughts, physical pain, a broken relationship, poor habits, financial burden, social isolation. Understanding what hurts us helps us identify what needs to be healed. Self-awareness helps us open our heart and mind so we can see clearly what affects us and how it shows up in our daily lives. After we explore the roots of our issues, we can then become more enriched and self-aware and self-love. Self-love is a commitment to our self-dignity by which our actions express how we feel about ourselves. Although people called me weak for being sensitive, I didn't let that stop me from how I reacted to my life and situation. That sort of confidence to be who I was despite the onslaught of taunts came from my parents. They made me feel good about who I was and gave me strength to be vulnerable, even when I was very young. I didn't know then that vulnerability was a strength. But looking back now, I know now it was my superpower. And the life I live now unfolded because I dared to be vulnerable and show up as my authentic self, even when it was not popular or safe to do so. Where did that courage come from? But maybe it wasn't courage. I knew no other way to be. I was horrible at lying, and I found it very difficult to be someone that I wasn't, and still do. What's hurting us is not something uniquely experienced, but the way we experience that pain is unique from everyone else in the world. Only we experience what we think and feel, and that should always be recognized, acknowledged, understood, and respected. This is an important step in the process of healing. You cannot tell your story and live an authentic life if you do not acknowledge your human experience and history. Every part of you and your human experience matters and must be validated. Taking this step introduces us to vulnerability, which points us in the right direction. Vulnerability helps us identify what hurts. Here are my thoughts on improving vulnerability. Expect some resistance and be patient. Take your time, don't rush the process, take small steps. Exploring vulnerability means going against what feels natural in our brain and body. Learn to forgive yourself. Personal hard feelings can trigger our body and brain, making vulnerability less likely to occur. Remember, you are only human. Life is a balance of highs and lows. You must experience both. Keep in mind that the payoff is worth the discomfort. Being vulnerable is not comfortable, but knowing your why and leaning into your why can help keep you inspired and consistent. I've got a whole video on vulnerability from Roar Season 1. Check it out for more on the power of vulnerability. Before we talk about self-healing and how to become one, we've got to talk about a very important part of self-healing: acceptance. Here's how I deal with the madness of our world and accept what is. The world is full of hate. It is horrifying to be reminded that a great number of Americans hate me. Without even knowing me, there are people who hate me because of how I look, because of who I love, think I'm inferior, want to prove that I'm inferior, think that despite my slave ancestry and lack of rights for so many hundreds of years, we need no more assistance to be in an equitable world, and would really rather see us go back from where we came from, even though my ancestors were brought here against their own free will, and would have been more than happy to go home had they had the chance. They think I'm subhuman, a deviant, and I should not be allowed to have the same human rights as others. Don't believe me? Turn on the news. It's all right there in front of you. On your phones. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is the world we live in. How do you deal when you're bombarded by these messages every day that you don't belong? I can get mad, and I am. I can fight. I can run. I can hide. It's not going to work. We can't change how someone else feels. We can only change ourselves. I accept that this is the world we live in. I can't control the government. I can't control how people feel. All I control is my voice and my vote. And I vote every election, even the small ones. I accept the rest, for now. And acceptance doesn't mean I'm okay with the world. It also doesn't mean that at some point I may do something more significant, like peacefully protest. But I'm not going to change anything by stewing and worrying and being anxious. And believe me, I am absolutely horrified by the cruelty I'm seeing everywhere. Despite the horrors, there are moments when I feel free. Even though at some point I may be personally impacted by the horrible ways, by the selfishness, by my fellow Americans, my American brothers and sisters, acceptance can free you from the worry, from the pain, from the hate, from the internal turmoil that we have during these times. It's one thing to identify the problem, and another to accept its position and the impact on your life. For those of us who choose not to acknowledge the elephant in the room, we become very good at distracting ourselves, pretending that we are okay, and separating ourselves from reality. Avoidance. This is not good. Once we disconnect from parts of ourselves, we become blind to how much it hurts us or others around us. Acceptance quiets the alarms in our brains and slowly relaxes the body. Once we accept someone for who they are or accept a situation for what it is, we can start taking healthy steps towards healing. Acceptance frees us psychologically so we can start to do the work and act on self-love. Thoughts on increasing acceptance. Acknowledge and write down your feelings and thoughts when you feel vulnerable. Raising awareness directs our purpose. You cannot accept what you don't see. Find a safe space. Acceptance comes after vulnerability. It's best to find a safe space to practice acceptance to avoid feeling triggered by the environment. Understand the assignment. Have a clear understanding on your why for working on acceptance. My why is that I want to be at peace. I want to have contentment. I want to be okay in this crazy world. So it's better for me to accept what is, do what I can, and not let the rest affect me. That is not easy when you're bombarded by the negativity and the hate that gets directed at you. They're talking about me, people. They're talking about me. And that hurts. And I can't change how they feel about me. Nor will I try. I will just be who I am and let them deal. And hope that at some point I don't find myself in danger because I'm being who I am. Knowing your why keeps you grounded and anchors you to the outcomes you are fighting for. Know the limits of your feelings and thoughts. Your feelings are your feelings, and your thoughts are your thoughts. This does not invalidate your human experience. It does remind us that our feelings and thoughts are not the same as anyone else's, nor can they be, nor should they be. Long story short, our feelings and thoughts do not make anything true or untrue, right or wrong. Our personal feelings and thoughts alone should never be the only grounds for acceptance. Understand how acceptance impacts your community. Our energy drains or powers others around us. Wanting what's best for those we care about means needing to be at our best. Be respectful of universal space and energy. Heal from those who hurt you, or you'll bleed on those who didn't cut you. Before we talk about how to become a self-healer, what is a self-healer? A self-healer possesses the knowledge and skills necessary to heal oneself from psychological disturbances or trauma. We are all more capable of healing ourselves than we know. Self-healing is not just about what you know or can do. It's also about who you are. Self-healing is about character. Only character can call upon behavior needed to self-heal. Becoming a self-healer. Being a self-healer for me means recognizing my situation, acknowledging how I feel about it, accepting what the way things are for the time being, and then strategizing on what I can actually do to move my life forward. It's really self-awareness, environment awareness, awareness of the impact on the room, and accepting what is and really trying to focus in on what I can control. In the example I gave earlier about the impact of world events on my mental health, about the hate in the world and the hate pointed towards me, I accept that because of their ignorance and sometimes small-mindedness, lack of critical thinking, and lack of ability to look at the world around them and have empathy and compassion for people, they don't know me. They don't want to know me. But instead of worrying about what I can't control, I do what I can. And these videos are an example of that. I spread love, I spread light, I spread positivity. I try to be honest and authentic and let the rest be the rest. Here's what I can do. I can't do more than this. And at this point in my life, I really depend on my ability to be creative, to be loving, to be authentic, and to be my vulnerable self. And sharing these moments with you, I feel better. I can function. That's healing for me, and I hope healing for the world, and maybe healing for you as well. I get depressed, I get sad, I get discouraged, I get angry, I get very angry and annoyed and aggravated and frustrated and hurt. And I go on and try to focus on what matters in my life at the moment, in the now. And I hope I'm inspiring you to do the same. And that does not mean I don't hurt inside. I do. I hurt deeply. I feel deeply. I have empathy for others, not just for myself, but for other people who have it way more worse than me. But again, I can't help them, so I must help what I can help and who I can help in my environment. And my hurt will not break me and will not stop me. So stay strong, work on your vulnerability, work on your acceptance. This will allow you to identify what hurts, where it hurts, how it hurts, and what you might need to do to self-heal. Also reach out to professionals. Keep working on the things you're working on, but know that a lot of that responsibility falls on us, and the better equipped we are to self-heal, the better off our lives are going to be. Be sure to check out the next episode in this series, Episode 1, Part 2. It will be here once posted, and here's the whole playlist of 10 episodes. It explores the relationship approach to healing created by Dr. Joy DeGray. It takes a deeper dive into a beautiful way to become a self-healer and to self-heal. It was just too much to put in one video. Check out the other videos in the season. The season outline is in the description below. Please have a look and spread the word. Stay strong, work on your vulnerability and acceptance. They will allow you to identify the parts of yourself for which you need healing, and then you can get to the work on what you actually can do and try to let the rest go. All right, one planet, one tribe, one world, one love. This is Roar Season 2. I'll see you there.